It's your boy Xenhouse from the Xenhouse Podcast. If you like our content, like, subscribe, share. We're available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. If you have anything you want us to talk about, anything we missed, comment below.
I can't move the way I used to, had to call the audible. I put in the work, no humble flex. And talk of the town, you see who next. They on checkers, I'm on chess. Had to hit up with the X. Xenhouse.
This is the Xenhouse Podcast. This is episode 65.
65.
Wow.
We're moving.
That's a lot.
We're getting
a
there.
lot of episodes.
Wow.
At the Xenhouse Podcast, we like to incorporate fitness, community, and culture and merge it with mind, body, soul. It's your boy, Des Hines.
It's your boy, A. Joe.
And Ross B.
My gosh. This guy with this.
It's
What
like
happened, guys?
It's like you're Ross Bertrand sometimes, and then this Ross B dude. I don't know. That
You don't know who it is?
I mean, I'm
He
starting
does
to
the
mix it up.
Birdman hand rub.
Yeah.
He does the
I'm not
B2K
sure.
voice.
I'm not sure what
He
you guys
does the
know.
light skinned eyes.
He tried to.
My eyes
the
are
Barry
permanently
White.
like this.
Does it decide how the podcast goes?
Right.
Like, but sometimes he's himself.
Who is
so
this
we're
guy?
like, okay, we got Ross, the real Ross. I
Today
don't
is
know
gonna
this
be
guy.
a great
We
episode.
don't know this one.
It's going to be a great episode.
So we got a very special guest with us. He's usually behind the camera. He's a staple of Stamford. He's from the community. He's still here. He still gives back. He gives us insight on what to do in Stamford, how to do it, and everything in between.
When to do it.
When to do it. He does it all for you. There's no excuse.
Right.
The one and only PJ Kennedy.
What's up, guys?
PJ.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
Mr. Hey Stanford.
The
This
man
is awesome.
behind
I'm
Hey
happy to be here.
Stanford.
Yes.
Wait, I always wanted to do this, though. It's your boy, PJ.
Okay, Ross, we got competition.
You see it? You see that, right?
I love it.
So PJ, talk to us about growing up in Stamford,
Yeah.
being from the town, and giving back to the town and all that stuff. How you
Yeah,
got started?
absolutely. Let's see. I started about maybe 10 years ago. I always get the number wrong. I think it's like 10 years ago. Started out as a Facebook page and just started sharing content. My goal was to always kind of create like a city guide. Doing what I'm doing now, but more formal on a website and create like, what to do at night, what bars are opening, what,
Right.
was going out a lot. And I just wanted to highlight what was going on in the city. Social media gave me that opportunity and it's been a fun ride.
Yes.
Growing up in Stamford's amazing.
Right.
I mean, 4 Stamford guys here and it's changed so much, but it's the city that I'm born and raised in. I love it here. I love highlighting what's going on in the city. I love highlighting cool things, and it's been a fun ride.
Now, I know me personally, and I think we've shared this. Growing up in Stamford, you always have this notion where you need to go somewhere and do something else.
Yeah.
You got to move to LA. You need to
Right.
go to New York.
Mhm.
I've had that where I was like, I can't wait to get out of
Right.
out of Stamford and go somewhere else. Have you ever had that?
Kind of. There was always the excitement about going to New York City, but for me, my roots were here. My roots were here in Stamford. I never went away to college. I went to Norwalk Community College for a little bit. I never pictured myself somewhere else outside of Stamford.
Yeah.
We have a nice history here in Stamford, and for me, it's always been about highlighting what's going on, and it's been fun to see it grow and change, and still keep that kind of core community to it.
I always kind of felt the same way too, right? It's like leave, but once I left and then came back,
Gravitate back.
yeah, it was just like everything that you ever need is here, right? Like
Right.
you talk about the bars and stuff like that. And we know a bunch of the people who
The owners.
own
Yeah, sure.
bars and delis and, all these cool things. And, it's always fun to, especially with your kids,
Mm-hmm.
when you're driving, you're like, oh, daddy went to school here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I think it's pretty cool to still be here as well.
And to that point, like that's kind of why I started doing Hey Stanford, is because I always thought it was a great place to live, and I wanted to highlight what was going on here and call attention to it, because the nightlife was great and the restaurants were great and there was a lot of fun things going on. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
How
think-
has, so you about to say something?
No, I was gonna say I think Hey Stanford it does a great job of like emphasizing the city. Like for years, I knew Hey Stanford. I know the logo. I never knew who was behind the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you did that on purpose for a while.
I stayed behind the scenes a lot.
Yeah. But it gives us, a sense that we're proud to be from here.
it.
And there's a lot of stuff that people don't know. I
Right.
still learn stuff about
Yeah.
Stanford.
There's a lot of nooks and crannies in this city that people don't really know about, and it's fun to learn about them. To your point, I love driving around and seeing there's so many new buildings popping up, but
Right.
I always highlight to my kids, like, oh, so-and-so is there, or,
Yep.
this used to be there. It's fun.
So growing up in Stamford, what do you think is one of the biggest changes that you've seen so far?
Jeez, I mean, the buildings,
Yep,
right?
that's number one.
You look around at the city landscape, it's changed so much. It used to just be that landmark building shining up like a beacon in the middle of the city, and now there's a lot of buildings there. That's the number one thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And the nightlife too. I mean, there's so many great restaurants that have come into the area that I think have, that's great to shine a spotlight on. But that skyline number one is changed tremendously.
Absolutely. So do you like that? Do you like this new dynamic, or are you still kind of in between? Because I think we're in between.
Yeah.
We're in between.
We're
of,
missing
like-
the old and we're
there's
liking
pros
the
and
new.
cons.
Right.
Yeah, pros
So-
and cons.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, you hear about a new building coming up and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, we need another building. We need
Again,
more
More
apartments,
traffic.
More traffic, right? But at the same time, you look down here in Harbor Point and it's a beautiful day out. People are outside walking their dogs or out by the water. Like it's really nice to see the community come out and be active and do those things. So it's nice to get kind of new fresh blood in the area and see it be active.
Yeah. So on the social media aspect of Hey Stamford, what do you think was the biggest transition from Facebook to just Instagram and how you, conducted everything on Instagram?
All right, should we go back to MySpace?
I just missed the MySpace Hey Stamford page,
That's
but
for the best. That's for the best.
Facebook was the core of what I did for a long time. I started an Instagram page. I've always loved photography, so I started an Instagram page just to take pictures around town and, taking pictures of the Avon building, the Palace, these beautiful buildings downtown, and just sharing them. Then the dynamic changed a little bit where it kind of became an influencer kind of community, and I fell into that, and it's been an interesting transition. Going from sharing buildings and my sandwich for the day to kind of having a little voice in the area. For me, it's been a dream job, really. A dream side hustle, passion project, I should say. It's been fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people are kind of dependent on you, right, to give your
Yeah,
take
they
on
get a take,
Yeah.
what do you think is best.
Right.
I'm not even gonna lie. When the fireworks, I had no idea when it was. So, Hey Stamford,
That's
and I
really
saw
exciting.
exactly when the time was for the fireworks, and I was like, okay, from what Hey Stamford says, this is what time you got to get there. Right?
That's it.
So,
You
so
can't mess up.
Do you feel like it's part of your duty now to
In a way.
give the information to Stanford?
Yeah, in a way, if I'm not sharing something, I kind of feel guilty about it. I want to be that voice. I want to be that news outlet that people are coming to get their news and figure out what to do. So, I try and stay on top of it. Sometimes I miss things and get yelled at by people. But,
Right.
I try.
You're doing your best.
That's it.
no one's perfect.
Can you explain like what's the day-to-day of Hey Stanford? I know you have a full-time job as well.
Yep. So I work at a large IT research company here in Stamford. I've been there 17 years. Hey Stanford was kind of an outlet for me to get creative. Again, shine a spotlight on the city. So for me, it's early mornings before work, trying to write a blog post, edit some pictures, edit some videos. There might come down to one of these restaurants down here, grab some lunch and get some content then. And then it's late nights too. I have 2 young kids. One's third to bed. I start editing some more blog posts and videos. And at that same time, I'm a publisher, a video editor,
All of that stuff.
all
Father.
of it. A father,
Husband.
right? Yeah, and it's you got to balance all of that.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lot of work.
It is.
We are a lot of things too.
Yeah.
right.
So
Probably when you're getting up to unlock these doors here at the gym, I'm probably getting up to write some blog posts and. God bless you guys for being a little more active than me. I'm just typing away. You're doing some more things, but
I think people have no idea like editing.
yeah,
I'm doing it on a small scale on my
Right.
phone.
Yeah.
I know you use your phone, but like this production,
oh my God,
it's
this
a
is
whole different
tremendous.
level.
Yeah, I wish that people could see this. I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
We reposted what Pierre posted the other day
Yeah.
to kind of show what's behind the scenes, but this is a lot of work
Yeah, a
that
lot
Pierre
of
put
notes, a
together.
lot
Shout
of
out to
different-
Pierre.
Yeah,
Really?
it's for you guys too. You're business owners. You're training people, and now here you are as media superstars here
Yeah.
with the podcast. It's fun to see.
Yeah, I think this idea was born because we wanted to get people like you from the community, and we were thinking like doing like a seminar where we'll have them come in and talk about certain things like how to do your taxes, how to save, how to do stuff, and then like, let's do a podcast and we can put all that stuff and it lives on the internet forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how that was born. We started off with the phone.
Yep.
Pierre contacted us. He said, "Listen, I like what y'all doing, but come on, we got to do better."
Amateur.
We made it work now. We made it work. It looked good for us.
So,
It's amazing what you could do with your phone now these days. So I mean, just with photos, video editing, just quick content on your Instagram page. It's amazing.
It's dope. So I did some research on you. Well, you know that's what we do. We gotta look you up.
Yep.
So it says that your grandfather, J. Walter Kennedy, he was the mayor of Stamford
Yes.
in 1960.
Yep.
I'm 34. These guys are 35, 36.
Yep.
I just remember, like, I don't remember. I remember Mayor Malloy.
Yep.
That's my earliest memory of the mayor.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Right.
Yep.
And then there's a few that I missed going off to college.
Yep.
And then Mayor Simmons now. Can you talk to us about that time in Stamford, how much different it is than it was now?
Yeah, I mean, I was not, so I'm an old man, but I'm not that old. I was born in 74. He passed away 77, but his lore in our household, I mean, we have newspaper clippings and just kind of like what we hear around the community. And it was a different time around here for sure. And it was, the growth of Stamford probably started even around that time too. And, with those newspaper clippings, we see, where the mall used to be or wherever. And it was all like the redevelopment of downtown and some of the other areas. So it was a different time for sure. I certainly remember Malloy, and that was when I was a little bit older. And, you talk about the change in the city of Stamford. It's amazing.
Come a long
Big
way.
time.
Yeah.
So do you feel like he and your parents, because we all did some research, but because they were into some of the things that you're into as well, and things that he was doing, it mentioned that he was, I don't know if it's the actual NBA or National Basketball Association, and then your dad played some parts and some and some things too. Do you feel like what they've done kind of played a role into you becoming like somewhat of a journalist?
Absolutely. My grandfather, before mayor, was always in the public relations field. Actually, he was the PR director for the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, nice.
My dad always used to share fun stories about how the Globetrotters would be having dinner at their house, and
Oh, wow.
some wild stories.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they certainly paved the way for what I do. My dad was a journalist. He was a sports editor at the Stamford Advocate for 30 plus years. Plus with my grandfather's background, my mom's always been an inspiration. So it's certainly
Family ties.
Yeah.
Some other newspaper.
Yep.
Yeah.
We used to try to be paper boys, right?
Well, we were
working.
I was a paper boy.
They
They fired me.
They technically didn't fire
Actually,
us. We're still working.
employed because they never told us.
They never told you.
No, stop bringing the papers to us.
And then next thing you know, we see people driving, throwing the paper.
Right.
And we still had the code. I remember
Yep.
I didn't get the paper, so I called in and I gave the code to get them dropped off. So they drop them off, and then all my route is delivered. I'm
So
like,
you got
they
all those
really
papers for no
they
reason.
moved on from us.
I remember every morning getting that pack right there, right by my garage.
Well, that's why my dad said he never wanted me to be a newspaper boy because he knew that he would end up doing it. And he didn't want to wake up that early to do it. So
Right. Fun times.
yeah.
Man.
Times
Different
have
times.
changed.
yeah.
Different.
It's been fun though. When growing up, as a sports editor, I was immersed in the sports world. Like for me, it gave me an opportunity to see so many athletes growing up and coming out of Stanford and always hearing their stories. And that's always been an inspiration for me. I didn't turn out to be a great athlete. The total opposite probably, but there was always that inspiration around for in sport, from the sports world for sure.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What's some of the biggest relationships that Hey Stanford had brought you?
Just simply with the community, I think, at first. It's the first thing that comes to mind. It's been great to be involved in what's going on around Stamford, even if it's just having a voice in certain things. But some great things have come out of our food festival. We do a large food festival in Stamford. This is the 6th year that we're doing it. And that's been an amazing opportunity. I have the opportunity to get involved with a lot of local organizations, work closely with the Palace Theater, for instance, or Curtain Call up the street, or things in the arts and entertainment field, which have been really fun to do. So,
what's the process for the food festival? Because I mean, we went a few years ago, and there's so many food vendors, there's so many food trucks. There's too many options.
It's organized, though. That's the craziest part. How
there's a lot of people.
Make that chaos look so clean and perfect.
Well, thank you. That's good to hear. It's a whole team of people that are working on that. I work with a partner, Parachute Concerts is their name, and they're born and raised in Stamford, so they also have a kind of a passion for what goes on in this area. For us, it's about bringing what we write about on Hey Stamford and bringing it to life and giving people options to try new food, hear new music, and get their feet wet in Stamford and do something fun, something different.
Because the food trucks in Stamford are growing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I kind of see a new food truck every few months or so. Like, and I'm always willing to try it. You know, I just tried a Guatemalan food truck on the west side the other day, and it was pretty good. So it's like cool to have people bring their culture.
You
know,
that's the new wave now. People aren't opening restaurants; they go right for the food truck.
It's easier. It's easier. Like the Meltmobile. Oh my God! You remember the Meltmobile?
Yeah.
It's not Brenda. I spent a lot of money.
Oh my God!
Let's not bring that up.
We used to probably have the Meltmobile
every
Friday, every Thursday and Friday. I don't even want to tell you about Teggy. Teggy had Meltmobile probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
2 bags full of that thing.
Weekend.
Yeah.
They did a meatball one that was amazing.
Yep.
Oh,
they were probably the first kind of gourmet food truck that you saw in the area. And they hit it big with the Food Network, and they're around still, and they're awesome. They do a great job.
They don't even do like downtown anymore. They're big time. They're big time now.
Is there something where you can't do downtown anymore? Like you can't park?
There is, There's some zoning that's involved for some reason. They focus more on parties and catering now. Yeah. They've hit that sweet spot. Yeah.
I think we should probably propose an ideal to the mayor to have a food truck lot year-round somewhere.
I like it.
That way people can just sit down and open area, have food trucks sitting there.
Let's do it.
Kind of like what's on 95.
Yeah, right. Up near New Haven and all that. They tried that a little bit outside the mall. There was a lot out there. COVID hit, and I think that slowed things down. But I agree. I think they should.
I think some along the water will be, especially in the summertime.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll be a hit.
Yes.
PJ, do you feel any pressure going to these different spots? And you know your voice is so huge in Stamford. Like if you don't really agree with the food or something happens, do you say what you really feel about it, or you just leave it out?
I kind of leave it out. If I don't like something, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think I recognize that, people are watching and listening, and I don't want to have a negative impact on a business. My goal is to support and help grow local businesses. I don't want to shoot anyone down like that.
Yeah. And it goes both ways. You don't want to lie or not give your truth about it.
Right.
And then you're like, what PJ talking about?
Yeah, right.
You don't want that.
So with that being said, being behind the camera saying, if something's good or bad, or not even just good or bad, giving them promotion, do you feel like you have been put in a spotlight where now you show your face, people are like, hey, PJ, what's up, man? Do you feel like that's happening a lot more?
It is, yeah. I'm getting recognized a lot more.
Well, that's good.
I love it, actually. I think it's great.
Awesome.
It's another reason I've been doing Hey Stamford. I think it's fun to be out there and be a voice and be a face. And for me, it's fun. Yeah. Like being out with my kids, we're out to dinner, and number one, my kids know not to eat until I take pictures of the food.
Right.
They know not to touch anything.
Everybody knows the rules, right? Camera eats first.
Yep.
Camera eats first.
But it's great to, kind of strokes the ego a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, I think it's that time. We got some questions for you.
Oh, yeah.
The hot seat.
Let's do
All
it.
right. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Being that your grandfather was the commissioner of the NBA,
Yeah.
who's the greatest basketball player of all time?
Michael Jordan.
Okay. Can you explain quickly why?
No,
I'm a Michael Jordan guy. I'm a Michael Jordan guy.
I'm just going to leave it at Michael Jordan. That's it.
That's it. I'm a Michael Jordan guy.
I can't get in those conversations, but
Yeah,
I think
it gets crazy.
I would say Michael Jordan. That's who I grew up with. He was the greatest of all time, and sure, LeBron's great. There's some great players out there, and I think Jordan is it though.
Okay. If you can go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Stay out of trouble. Focus on what you want to do and have fun with it.
What's one uncommon fact about Stanford that most people don't know that you would know?
Good question.
Like a hidden gem or anything like that along those lines?
Yeah, let's see. I say this often, it's even with all the big buildings, it's still just a small community here. And I think that's something important to highlight about Stanford. I think people need to recognize that. No matter, you could go into the grocery store, I go into the grade A and I see people that I grew up with, their parents, or it's just still such a small community, no matter how big it grows. Hidden gems, there's a lot of great restaurants in this area. You have Harbor Point, you have Stanford downtown, you have North Stanford. One of my favorite restaurants is Polici's, which is
Can't go wrong with that.
We used to go there for
Basketball, every time after basketball.
it's a great restaurant, and it's kind of off the beaten path. People may not interact with it a lot, but it's there's a lot of different restaurants like that in the area that I think people should know about.
Yeah. One of the things I love going to my grandma's house, she lives on Clinton Avenue in Stanford, is just hearing her talk about Stanford growing up in the past. And she would say, like, where the mall is used to be neighborhood. And my aunt bought this house over here. It was $30,000 at the time, 2-family.
Yeah.
And now you know what they're going for.
Yeah, really.
900 and up.
Welcome to Stanford.
Yeah, seriously.
It's changed.
So one of the bigger debates, right, since you're talking about the restaurants, like, have been best wings in Stanford.
It's a big conversation on our pages, actually.
What's your take?
Let's hear it.
I don't have a favorite,
I give it top 3.
but I will say Brick House,
Okay.
Polici's,
Okay.
Bradford's, Cole House, and Avellino.
Evelyn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so Cole House right now is,
I haven't had
mean,
Cole
there's-
House yet.
yeah.
No, I never had them.
It's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now with the emergence of Frank Pepe's,
Right.
and John, is that John the Baker over there?
Right.
Yep. On the
I
corner.
mean, it's gonna be hectic.
Yeah, it
you
will
know?
be. It will be. I think it's, talk about wings, you have some amazing pizza in Stanford,
That was
too.
going to be my next
Right.
question.
Yeah, there's
Right,
so much
pizza.
great pizza in the area. But now with Sally's and Pepe's coming too, the game is just elevated, and I think
You got too many options. But I mean, they're building all these buildings. You got to
Right.
have options for the people.
Right.
the real winner is me, the pizza lover. I love it.
Right,
I can eat pizza all the time.
Do you have a top 3 to 5?
Good question. All right, I knew that was going to come.
Let's
Let's
come
see.
Yeah,
on.
let's
Come
hear
on.
it.
That's
Come
what
on,
you
let's
get.
hear it.
No.
Wait, are you a cheese guy though or sauce? Because we're sauce.
I'm a
We're
sauce guy.
What do you like?
I'm cheese.
Listen,
Cheese.
I mean, Belltown Pizza in Stanford is our go-to. That's where we go for like our normal Friday pizza. Rico's Colony, I love those guys. Who else? I know I'm forgetting something. Cole House does great pizza too, actually. I love the wood-fired pizzas.
Yeah.
Like the little charred taste to it. It's awesome. So having Sally's here too is fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Geez, I know I'm missing someone. I can't think of it, but those are the first ones that come to mind.
Y'all heard it.
Check it out.
There's people
Don't mess
debating.
around.
Well,
That is such a-
Barroso has a good spicy salami though.
Yeah, right. I've had their
Barroso.
pizza before.
Yeah,
It's good.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's good.
I'm not the biggest pizza guy, but I'm in love with Greek pizza.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Hope Pizza's amazing.
Yeah.
Hope
They
pizza.
do a great job.
Yeah, I tell you, John's. It's
Living
favorite
Night.
is John's.
Shout out to John's.
John's near Stanford High.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they do a good job. Yeah.
Russ trying to get me to do what we just talked about. What's one common myth about running Hey Stanford that you run into? People think.
It's my full-time job.
Right.
And
I would have thought that if I would look you up, honestly.
I focus a lot on it. So it makes sense, but I get a lot that, surprised that it's not my full-time job. A lot of people are surprised that I'm not filthy rich off of it too.
Right.
It's like I said, it's a passion project that keeps me really busy, but I enjoy it.
Do you see it potentially taking you full time one day?
I would love that one day. I think that's, everyone has their kind of side hustles or passion projects that they love to see grow. And I think for me, That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Next for me is a podcast.
Mhm.
I think that's coming up around the corner. Focusing more on digital content and video is also important. So just to kind of grow along with all the social media trends and,
Let it grow from there.
yeah.
Yep.
So with that being said, do you feel like you giving these businesses promotions, do you think that gives you kind of a perk? Like, do you get free meals?
There's perks here and there. Yeah.
Do you need like a partner?
Hey, anything with donuts? That boy, he's a guy, man.
I'm gonna have to start a donut page because I'm a
love
donut
it.
guy.
Yeah. It's, if you saw the things I eat, you guys probably wouldn't want to do it anymore. Or you would make me come here more to work
Yeah.
out.
Right.
Gotta burn it off.
Speaking of donuts, what's your favorite donut in town?
Ooh, don't mess with me with that. There's too many. There's too many options. I go old school because I grew up next to Donuts Delight.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bad habit of mine.
Yeah.
I've gone down. I'm not a habitual donut eater anymore as much as I used to. You guys attest to it.
Yeah, you just have a box out
I'm
there.
pretty sure he just did.
I did not have a
On
box.
Friday.
We do,
Well,
we do donut
no,
Friday.
yeah, he doesn't do one.
It's
I'm a
box.
family of 5 now.
Right.
So we do Donut Friday here. It's
I
a
like it.
tradition in our household. So my wife brings donuts. Shout out to Anna. She brings donuts with the girls before Lainey goes to school.
Nice.
And we eat our donuts here together and our egg and cheeses.
Nice.
And Des and Ross are always jealous because where's my food? Like, all right.
You know what?
Oh, you don't
really-
bring them donuts?
No, we don't get donuts.
that's
But you know
the
what
joke.
really bothers me is because it's Donut Friday. Alex will say like on Wednesday, "Guys, I'm gonna start doing better. I'm gonna start eating better."
No
Then
more
Friday
donuts.
comes,
Donut.
donuts. Okay.
It's only one.
Okay.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Okay.
I
Right,
started out at eating at least 4 to 5 donuts a day. I could do that.
Yeah.
Now, I just eat donuts on Fridays.
Right.
If I have it on a Wednesday, yeah, I'm
Progression.
cool.
I see.
But I don't eat as much as I used to.
Right. It's progression,
But-
you're saying.
So your intake is on Friday.
Yeah,
That's what you
Friday's
focus
my,
on.
my high intake. But favorite, it is tough. There's too many options.
I'll recommend Beldotti's. on
Yep,
Newfield
I've had
Avenue.
Beldotti's.
They do great
the
donuts.
cronuts.
Yeah,
The cronuts on
that's
Saturdays.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Everything you're gonna name, he probably had it already.
There's too many options. But a surprise is the Stop and Shop.
Oh my gosh, this dude.
All right, yeah, you
I
go
was just
too
gonna
far.
say.
Grocery store
I was
donuts.
gonna say the grade A donuts are
The
also
grade
up
A
there.
donuts
Yeah.
that have the croissants and
Yeah.
glaze.
All right,
Yeah.
man.
He has a problem.
me out!
You know the diner ones that been sitting there for months. He'll probably get those. too.
Nah. Grade A, it is dangerous. I just put my daughter into that, and she's like, "Daddy, can we get more?" And I was like, "What did I start?"
That's a big
She's
mistake.
4, and now she's like, "Can we get
I
those
could have
again?"
a few of those.
But that's
Yeah.
dangerous. But yeah, let's not go into the donut world.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
PJ, for Hey Stanford, do you have people working for you?
Not for Hey Stanford. No,
Okay.
there's a very large team that works on the food fest with me. But Hey Stanford itself, no.
Okay. Next question. What's your biggest fear?
Jeez. Probably becoming too fat from eating too much food and not being able to do it. I don't know. Maybe just not being able to continue to do this. I love Hey Stanford. I love where I'm from, and I love to be able to do it. And I think if I wasn't able to do that anymore, that would be tough.
What is the most important personality trait to do what you do for Hey Stanford?
Somewhat of a personality, I think. Whether it's just goofing off a little bit and listen, I wasn't the best student growing up. Got into some trouble. My grades were never the best, but I think I was always a little bit personable. So to be able to just get up and do it and have fun, and I don't know,
That makes sense.
have fun with it.
You gotta have a little fun sometimes, man.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 more questions. What's the most memorable point of your career so far? And I'm not the full time. I'm talking about just Hey Stanford.
Probably the food festival. For me, working on such a large scale event in the city of Stamford with a lot of great people has been a dream come true. And I've said this before, but like sometimes I'll just look down from the stage and just see so many people in the audience that are here to experience something in Stamford, and it's an emotional thing. It's really cool to see to know that you worked so hard on something and to see it come to life.
Absolutely.
Last question. How do you want to be remembered when it's all said and done?
We talked a lot about Stamford and work here, but for me, I'm a family man. Like, I want to be known as the guy that was home with his family with his great wife and amazing kids, and was just, raising his family right in the city he was born and raised in.
That's huge.
That's it.
Yeah.
Full circle.
I read too on your page. It says madly in love with. I'm like, I know this. I know he edited and did it himself. He put madly in love with his wife. What's your wife's name again?
Sandy.
Sandy.
Yeah.
He making it known to the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's how.
Madly
it should
in
be.
love with my wife, Sandy. She's an inspiration to me. Number one, she helps me tremendously. I say no one helps me with Hey Stanford. She helps me a lot with Hey Stanford. Number one, I'm a horrible writer. She edits all my stuff. She's raising my family. I'm out and about, right? She's doing a thing at home.
Yep.
She's raising
Sandy's
my family with
the
the
real
kids. And
superstar.
she is. She really is.
That's it.
And I have two amazing kids, PJ and Grace, that keep me motivated every day to do what I do.
That's it.
All right, this is my last question. How important is it to have that backbone and that support in your life to do the things you want
It's
to
huge.
do?
It's huge. You can't do it if you don't have that support. I don't even know another way around it, but to be able to have them cheering me on and helping me from beyond it's amazing. It goes really
Goes a
far.
long way.
Yeah. Listen, I got some questions for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay, I like this.
So I know you guys have been friends for a lifetime, we'll say. When did you guys first meet? Was it at school or was it the playground?
Different times.
Different times.
Yeah.
So it was baseball right down the street for Des and I.
Yep.
This was what grade was that?
7 years old. So what is that? Third grade?
Yeah.
Second grade?
Yeah. The second and third grade, and then
I met him at camp.
camp. That was
Stark.
fourth grade.
Yep.
Fourth grade at Stark doing
Nice.
the summer
And I
program.
met
Oh, yeah.
Ross in middle school, just football.
Right.
Well, we kind of knew each other because my cousin lived right next door to him.
Yeah.
He wasn't allowed outside.
Okay, why we gotta put that out there? I grew up
Des wasn't
literally-
allowed out
okay.
much.
Yeah, we were literally like
Right?
His
house
house?
over.
Yeah.
my cousin's house. So like we used to see each other all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
He was limited to the outdoors.
Listen,
That's why the asthma.
my mom was like, look, we had a nice little yard. It's shaped like a football field. This is where you play.
Yep.
Riding the bike, the parking lot was no bigger than this. I would just go in circles.
Right.
Everybody else going up and down the street. I'm just watching from behind the fence. I think
Wishing, hoping one day you can
one
get out
day.
there.
That's why I like going places now.
Yeah.
Now it all makes
It
sense.
makes sense now. We call him Book 'em Des. If you say Des, we're going on a trip. Des is like, it's already booked. We're like, wait a minute. We didn't even tell you the date.
I'm booked. But yeah, that's how we all met, and we stuck through
Awesome.
throughout high school, college. We went our separate
Yep.
ways. Always kept in contact, and then
Came back
Always
to town.
came
competed.
back to it. Yeah.
Right.
One thing we always do is compete. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what it is. Sports, finances in regards to who's making more, like bringing in more money
Right.
or whatever the case may be. We
Who could
always
squat
compete.
the lowest? You should have seen that one.
Oh, we had an argument
to
for
the
who
ground.
could squat the lowest.
And we're literally
And we're yelling at 7 a.m.
trying to get down to the ground.
You have fun with it. That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
all
work
fun.
when we come here.
No, this is
Now,
not working.
you grew up in this area. I mean, this has changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's that like?
Yeah, I grew up down the street,
Yeah.
Elmcroft Road, and
All this
if you
wide
remember
open.
coming down Washington, right here there was like a board,
Mhm.
and you would just come and then come down right Dyke Lane,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember as a kid, there was nothing over there. I used to think like that was Disneyland.
It's
Because
open.
I just was like, oh, that's Disneyland over there. I don't know why in my
Right.
mind I'm like, that's Disneyland. And I remember they did a little Kids Day thing. There's a big
Yep, right on the line over there. Yep.
they used to do Kids Day, so I used to be like, okay, can't wait for Kids Day,
Right.
give out free stuff. But seeing this now is a completely different place,
Right.
and it's crazy to see. But
A lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I think I used to do a lot in the community as
Mhm.
far as like going to the Yearwood Center. There were parties everywhere in the town, and that dynamic kind of changed.
Right.
And that's what I kind of want to see back in the town to keep the kids busier
Yep.
and more active.
Yep.
Like there was always someone I felt like that was giving back.
Yep.
Shabazz. We can name
Yeah, we
a
can name
bunch
too
of
many
people.
people. Miss Sam.
But I think we just need that feel back.
Right.
With all these buildings, still give back to the community.
And going back to the community thing is, the YMCA closing down.
Right.
That was a big role because some of us, we worked there in the summertime. We were the ones in charge of reglazing the basketball court, emptying out the pool, cleaning up. That was my first lifeguard job, the only one that can swim here, by the way. Cleaning up the weight room. We shut down the YMCA. So that was our first true job as kids, learning how to take responsibility and, rebuilding Stamford, essentially, because that was such a pivotal place. And just hearing that it's closing down was kind of, wow.
We always had something to do outside of sports in Stamford.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get back to that, like we were saying.
We need to find programs that can help kids, that don't have the finances, that can go to a camp. All right, this is a community event. Boom, we do this every so often during the summertime, just to keep them busy, essentially, because it keeps them out of trouble, especially those kids that really don't have anything. Their parents have to work, but they essentially can't afford. But that's where we want to come in as well, to start developing some community aspects, so we can do things in the community, like we're doing our free workouts this summer.
That's awesome.
So do things just to get kids involved, and just people.
And I think you guys are becoming that voice because, like, I've seen you at the Stanford High football games, for instance, helping with some training there and getting involved in youth sports. I think that's tremendous.
Yeah,
absolutely. Man.
Sports, I think, has such a huge impact on kids, and just keeping them out of trouble, giving them something to do, but keeping their mind right, I think, too. Having strong influences from coaches and their peers, I think, is tremendous.
Yeah.
So going back to when we met, I remember we had a game, and I was the pitcher because, I'm the best athlete on the team. But I remember I was in a little slump where I was, like, throwing a bunch of different balls. There was no strikes. Be strong, right? And I remember the coach saying, Des, you got to picture what you're doing. So I remember as a kid, strike. And I remember watching the ball go into the catcher's glove, strike. Like, I closed my eyes and I saw it.
Right.
And then I started pitching strikes. That was the first time, without realizing it, like, the pros go through that, where they go to the sports psychologist and then they get their mind right. I did that at 7 years old.
Amazing.
And some people never experience that.
Right.
So that's things like that, I think, are important for kids to develop and have as they get older.
Right.
Because life comes at you, you got to be able to, buckle down and figure it out.
Yeah.
And we learn how to figure it out with sports.
But the good thing off of that is, see how someone taught you that? I feel like a lot of the athletes that we're training right now, they don't have that mindset because they don't have, those adults that are actually
a mentor,
mentally there to teach them those small things. So that's where we want to come in to fix that. So we're not only just a training facility.
Right.
Our goal here is to, treat the mind, body, and soul. So when you come in here, we're going to teach you how to shake every person's hand of authority here. And it's not even authority, but someone that's older than you. Introduce yourself.
Right.
Speak with a voice. Like, don't mutter. Just get it out. The goal here is to make sure people develop themselves.
Right.
Physically and mentally. So when you're outside of here, you're like, okay, I remember at Xenhouse, I shook this person's hand firm. Okay, I want to do that again when I'm outside. It's little things like that that go a long way. Yeah. Kids can translate from sports to real world and real world to sports.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we want to tie the two together.
That's awesome. That's great. Good.
So real quick, do you want to give all the handles on our Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, everything you use?
So you can follow me on Hey Stanford on basically every social media network. HeyStanford.com is my homepage. That's where we have the hub of our activity, and we send out an email every Friday. The Friday newsletter, you can subscribe at HeyStanford.com.
We appreciate you taking the time to come.
Thank you, guys. This was awesome.
PJ.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Congrats to you guys.
Appreciate it.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
We're signing out. Episode 65.
Peace.
See you later.
Thank you, man. That was good.
That was fun.
DJ.
That was really
You're
good.
natural.
Xenhouse, yeah.